welcome to another Facebook Live. Really excited to be here with you to discuss a topic that I know is going to resonate with a lot of you. Hi, everyone. Thanks for saying hi in the comments. So today I want to talk about how we can better fit our English learning goals into our already busy lifestyle, right? So whether you are a working professional or a parent or maybe a student juggling multiple deadlines, assignments or responsibilities, I know finding time for language learning for your English related goals can be a real challenge when you have got so much going on. And then sometimes we got so much on our plates that literally by the end of the day, when everything is finally done, let's say it's 9 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, and everything is done, but we're so exhausted, we don't have any energy left for language learning, right? And then because of that, we know it's important, but it's not like super urgent. So we think to ourselves, okay, I'm just gonna skip today and tomorrow, and the same thing happens. And 6 months later, we wonder why we haven't made much progress, not much improvement, because it just gets pushed down our priority list over and over again. And I wonder who here can resonate with that, right? Because it's definitely happened to me before. And if that's you, that's totally fine. Don't worry, that's what I'm here for today. I want to share two practical tips with you that can help you make language learning a much more achievable and enjoyable part of your daily routine. So now, the first thing that I want to talk about first is the common stumbling block. One very common stumbling block that many of us tend to face, and I want to know if that's you as well. We tend to have this self-inflicted pressure, right? We have this pressure on ourselves that we want to achieve perfection in our language learning efforts. So now be honest with yourself here. Do you ever feel like you must dedicate, let's say 30 minutes, of your time? You want to dedicate at least a chunk of time a day to language learning for it to count. And if today you feel like you can't spare 30 minutes, if you feel like you can't carve out a 20 minutes block out of your day to dedicate to language learning, then you'd much rather just skip it all together, because you think to yourself, well, what's the point if I can't do it properly? Right, so this kind of all or nothing sort of mentality, right? And that definitely used to be me, not so much with language learning. For me, it was more like when I wanted to maintain a workout routine, my daily exercises, I used to have this kind of mindset that if today I couldn't commit to a full 30-minute session, I'd much rather just skip it all together. Right. And it was this kind of all or nothing sort of mentality that I ended up not exercising much when I initially set myself this goal for a particular week where I wanted to exercise like 4 or 5 times, and then ended up only exercising like once because of this my perfectionism. Right. So let me tell you, that's definitely not the case. Right? Because what I have learned is even just 10 minutes of exercise still makes a significant difference. So the same concept applies to language learning. The same principle applies here. It doesn't have to be perfect to be effective. It doesn't have to be lengthy to be effective. Right? We think we have to really sit down and do it properly and memorize countless words for it to count. We feel like we have to put in proper effort and a certain amount of time. We want to do it perfectly for it to count, right? And if today we don't have time for perfection, then we'd much rather not do it. And we wonder why we don't end up doing anything. Right? Because the key here really is consistency, not the amount of time you spend, especially if you don't have that habit in place just yet. So this is why I want everyone to remember here. It's important to remember that you can't optimize what doesn't exist just yet. Like, it's such a powerful reminder, even for myself as well. You cannot optimize what doesn't exist just yet. So in the beginning, it's all about putting that habit in place, right? And the best way to put a habit in place is to minimize the resistance, right? So 5 minutes, that counts. A word, that counts, right? As long as you can keep the ball rolling, as long as you can keep the momentum going. And after a period of time, then once the habit is in place, then you can talk about optimization. And that's what I help my students with. But in the beginning, you really want to put that habit in place first before we talk about optimization. Right, so I hope this is all making sense so far. And now let's talk about the path of least resistance, which brings me to the second point, because I know we all have busy lives, right? Every single one of us here is probably all very, very busy with a lot of things. So it can be challenging to find time for additional tasks like language learning. So again, the key here is to find those small pockets of time that actually work for you. Right, so consider when you feel most motivated and productive throughout the day. Is this in the morning, during breakfast, maybe during your commute or before bed? Right, so you want to identify those moments when you can dedicate even just 5 minutes to your English related goals, the time where you are most receptive to receiving new information. That's really, really important. If you don't have much time to begin with, then of course you want to optimize the time that you can spare by finding out when your peak productivity is. So for example, take myself as an example. I enjoy reading very much. And I personally have benefited so much from reading all these years. It honestly has helped me with my language learning so very much. But the truth is, it doesn't mean I like reading any time of the day. Right, I'm a morning person, so I prefer to read during that time when I'm most focused and receptive to new information. So I read when I'm having breakfast. So that's the time I read. So just 15-20 minutes per day, and then that's it. So by aligning your practice with your peak productivity, you're going to be able to make the most of those precious minutes that you have got. So really just imagine this: a month from now, right, you will have accumulated literally hours of practice from all these small pockets of time, right? And isn't that amazing? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes per day doesn't sound like much, but if you add everything all up, a month later, your future self is gonna thank you for it. So really just remember, small steps taken consistently will lead to really significant progress. So now I would love to hear from you. I can see there are a number of people watching here now. So I would love to hear from you. When are you most productive? When can you spare 5 minutes during the day? And when can you actually make the most of those 5 minutes? As an example. So share it in the comments with me and with everybody else, and then we can hold each other accountable. So when are you most productive? What time of the day do you find most suitable for language learning? Is this morning, during breakfast, afternoon, at lunchtime, or evening right after work or before bed? So let me know in the comments, and then we can hold each other accountable. So again, thank you so very much for tuning in today. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and then I look forward to connecting with you again soon. You take care. Bye.